Hey artists and creators, J-Star here, and today I want to show you how I made these vintage looking chef recipe cards. I've got truly vintage recipes, I've got some vintage photos of chefs, and I've got some faux vintage cellophane tape. It all comes together for a pretty cool look. Let me show you how it's done. All right, for our chef cards, we need a few ingredients. The first being some chefs. Now, I went on the internet and I searched for royalty-free vintage chef photographs. And I got some, and then I started doing like 1920s vintage chef, 1920s chef photograph, like different variations. And I found a bunch of them. And then I take them and I size them to about 2 inches, and in Canva, the graphics app, and I size them to about 2 inches, and then put them on an 8.5 by 11 base in Canva. Then I save that as a picture, I email it to myself, and then I print it out on photo paper. Now, I really like these photos just whole. Like sometimes I'll just cut them down, but I really liked the whole photo. So I decided I was going to shrink these. So I shrunk them a little bit. I shrunk them by 20% so that, you see how So I shrunk them by 20% so that I could cut the whole thing out and use the whole photograph. I mean, I just love seeing our little chef feet and him by his column, that kind of thing. So I shrunk them down, printed them out on photo paper, and then I cut them out. Okay, so that gives us our chefs. The next thing we need is some recipes. Now, I found at Fur Kids thrift store, because they organize their books, so they have a cooking section. I basically looked for small paperback recipe books because I knew they would be yellowed like this. Like, this is so good, right? This one is the International Cheese recipe book, and it's got some great fun recipes. And the paper is just so fantastic. And then I also found this recipes for elegant but simple dining. And these have some weirder things, which is great. And again, the yellow pages, that's really what I was looking for. So I've gone through these books and I've found some interesting recipes. And a lot of the times I match them up with their, with a chef. And let me just show you. So like this one, I like the idea of this recipe, Crustade de sole. Okay, obviously it's a fish dish. And I have this picture of a chef with a fish, okay? So those are gonna go together. And you can see how that's gonna fit kind of perfectly on a 2.5 by 3 card, the Crustade de sole. And then I can throw the image on there at an angle, and it'll still reveal a lot of the ingredients and the name, okay? So that's what we need first. Then we need to take these and cut them down to size, okay? So I've done some of them over here. Basically, you just want to play around with them and figure out how you're going to position the picture and the background, okay? So this one I want to just set kind of off to the side. She's got a lot of the recipe here, and it's just a few ingredients. I'd kind of like, yeah, I'd like the ounces of ground almonds to show, but just kind of play around with your layout and then cut the recipe accordingly. So this one for cheese blintzes, when I cut it out, I get all this white space over here. So what I thought is I'd use some of the directions over here on a jaunty angle, and then I'll put my chef in somewhere, probably there, maybe, yeah. Well, maybe he's straight, because this is angled, I probably put him straight, okay? You kind of only want one thing wonky on your card. It's like all wonky and one thing straight, or all straight and one wonky. You don't want all wonky and all straight's a little boring, okay? So just figure out how you want to position your papers and your photographs, and then cut them out accordingly. Now, I just cut this out because what I'm gonna do is glue these down, and then once this diagonal piece is glued down, then I'll turn it over and I'll cut from behind. I think that's easier than trying to, make it match up now. All right, so I'm going to go through and cut these up, and then we'll start assembling. And on this one, just to point out, I wanted to make sure that I got the full title of the recipe, Pheasant à la crème cognac, because that's the most interesting part, right? And then I'm going to probably, I don't know how he's going to go on there, but they'll get in there somewhere like that. Now I will save my rest of the preparation recipe. Yes, is that it? I don't know. No, those two pieces, just in case I want to throw, you know, something else in there. Okay, I'll keep those with them. All right, I've kind of decided all my placements, and I'm just going to glue some together. Some of them are straightforward. I'm just going to play with a couple of these. Now this one, the lobster bisque recipe, started on the bottom of the page, and the ingredients and directions were on the next page. But I definitely wanted that because I have this chef who's holding lobster. So I'm going to have that be across the bottom, and then the full recipe filling the page. So super simple. Let's just glue stick it on. And this is just a glue stick from the Dollar Tree. Nothing special. And then I've got a card, and that's pretty light. I'm going to put that behind it. And by light, I mean the background is kind of light, so it won't show through really. Smooth that down, lovely. And then I guess that kind of wants to go straight across on the bottom. Elaborate, yes, but festive and elegant. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. All right, so we've got our card that says lobster bisque, and then we can throw our chef on here. Yeah, and if I put him at an angle, I can get simmer lobster right there and lobster bisque. So that's, and a lot of the ingredients, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. Okay, so I'll do the rest of these, and then we'll go to the next step. And I'm not gluing the photograph down yet because I might add some things to the recipe cards. Okay. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to add a little bit of stamping to this. I want to add maybe some, you know, coffee rings, water rings, and some splashes, maybe a little bit of text. Okay, let's see. I've got some dates and some numbers here. So I just want to add a little bit of something handwritten kind of to these to like personalize the recipes. So let me just pull these out of the way first. And I think I'll do the water rings last. But there's a couple that I think need some script. And I think that's this one. Actually, let's bring over some paper so we can stamp on it. And I think I'm going to use Vintage Photo. Oh, actually, I want to write that. I want to do that in black because it's like a pen that's written. Yeah. Okay, so instead of that, I'm going to use some Memento. But this pad needs inking, so it comes off fainter. So let's just take that. And I think I'm going to line this up with this. So it's kind of like notes around the recipe. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of cool. And then when that's there, it's just a little something, a little extra. And I think some of this roquefort and eggplant, I'm just going to put a little bit of that right there. Yeah, adds a little something. Same here, we've got space. Maybe I'll do this one straight. Okay. Yeah, a little something. Any of these others? I think not. I don't want to overdo it. Okay, so that's that. Now, this one, it says gratin, but I'm going to pretend it says gratin and just let it be a little word that they've added in, like maybe there. Let's see. Maybe that goes there. Yeah, it's nice. I don't know if that's going to get covered or not, but, and gnocchi parisienne. Maybe we'll add a little bit right there. Okay. And again, I'm just going to do a few things on each. Now, these are some dates, and this is off of this. I should show you all the things I'm using. I got this. It's like Parisian dates and names and words. Some autographs, yes. But this is my favorite one. And I'm thinking this is kind of like the date that the chef decided to make this, or he was planning to make it for that date. And I don't like the way that looks, but oh well. So now I've learned I don't want to go over the menu title, but that's kind of cool. Okay, just a couple with that one. And then this is a different one. That's gonna go down there. Maybe we'll put this in here. And that's in there. And we'll switch it up. What does this date say? Okay, yep. Maybe I'll put this down with the lobster bisque. Now I want to be careful not to cover my lobster bisque name, but just add that number in there. That's nice, right? Look at that. Okay, and maybe one more with a date. Gnocchi Parisienne. Okay. And then I've got a couple of numbers that I like. Let's see. So this one, I think this 34 is kind of good. Like, oh, we've got 34 people coming for dinner. So they're just making a note of it. Or it makes 34 tartlets. I gotta turn it that way. Yeah. Okay. And put that there. Put that there. Just a little something, something. Okay, and I thought I had somewhere. That's 272. I think that's enough stamping of that. But let's add a little bit of spilled grain. This one's pretty subtle, so that's nice. Excuse me, I should speak up. I get into a zone. And now on these, I just want to test how dark this is going to be. If that's a full stamp, I kind of like the second stamp, so it's a little subtler, right? So I'm going to second stamp all of these with a little ring. Oh, yeah, just enough. Just a little something. Nice over the name. Do that again. Maybe I should play with that. I'm going to highlight the names. Grand Hotel. Yeah, that's cool. Roquefort. Cheese blintzes. Macaroon tarts. Okay, that's all of those. Normally I would switch this up because I have so many to choose from, but these are not going to be kept together. They're not a set, so I think it's okay to use the same one on each. And then I love this little splash. It's nice, and you can turn it different directions, and it kind of takes on its own identity. So let's do a little splash of lobster bisque. And again, pretty sure I want to stamp that off. That is pretty dark, but if we stamp it off, yeah, that's nicer. Okay, so we'll stamp off. I'm going to put it up in this corner. Yeah, just a little something. And we'll fill this space down here. We'll go up here again. Just make it look like used recipe cards. And she's got some space up here. Nice. I really like the way that looks now. Doesn't that look nice? Okay. And we'll go across the eggplant. Nice. Okay, so we've added a little stamping to these guys, make them look a little more lived in. And now we're going to secure them down, and then we're going to add our faux vintage tape for an extra layer. Okay, now I want to find the final positioning of my chef pictures. And I'm using this is plain Aleene's tacky glue. I just put it in a little needle tip dispenser. I like that little fine layer. I'm just going to cover that. And then maybe I should have looked at where this was going first. Actually, I think I'm going to do it like that. Somewhere like that. And let it go off the edge. I'm acting crazy. Cute. Okay. For some reason, I really wanted to show that gratin. Okay, let's see. This one I do want to do on a jaunty angle. I should look at it first before I put glue on it. Oh, and I just noticed something that I should tell you. All of these images, I inked the edges because, you know, the photo paper is stark white. And if I have that stark white edge peering out, it just loses the effect. So just hit each side with either a Sharpie of the same color or, you know, some ink and a thing. Just, you know, always make it look as nice as possible. Because now when we see that edge, it's brown instead of bright white. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I want that one down in that corner. Now I've gotten all of the chef pictures glued to their little recipe cards. Now I want to add some faux vintage tape. And I did a video yesterday showing this, and I'll just link it at the end of this video. But it's so simple. It's just cellophane tape stuck to something plastic that you can remove it off of, and then drips of alcohol ink. This is made with butterscotch and sepia colors, but you can see how cool it is. But let me show you. Peel some off, and then I'm going to take about half of that, stick that to the edge of the table, and let's just go right across the top of this guy like that, and then I'm going to just fold that edge over. Okay, on this one, so I told you in the video to fold little tabs over to make it easier to pull off. So we'll just cut that tab off. And then I'm going to cut this one in half down the middle, sort of make two smaller pieces of tape. And I'm just going to do the corners of this guy, and I'm going to let them go over the edge. Something about going over the edge is just the coolest thing. Look how neat that is. I mean, totally looks vintage. All right, so we're going to do more of these. Cool. And then I want to show you one thing. Let me find a piece where I did it. Okay, so on this piece, I've got the serrated edge of the tape. So you've got the tape cutter is a little serrated edge. And I just put some extra dark ink on there so that kind of, you know, can you see that? Kind of got up under that edge. So when I pull this off, I've got this cool serrated edge to use. And let's put it, I kind of like it on this because that's kind of dark and this is kind of dark. So I'm going to put it to this side. but you see that extra little bit of texture there is pretty cool. He's got a yellow forehead now. Okay. And this one, I'm going to change it up. I'm going to put this across the bottom. Nice. And then this on this corner, just so it looks a little different, right? Very fun. I'm going to get the rest of these done really quick. And here we have our completed chef recipe cards. We've got the old vintage recipes. We've got photos of chefs from the past, and we've got the vintage cellophane tape. We've got some staining to make it look like a really cool old recipe. Now, some of these I'm going to use as artist trading cards, but some I'm going to actually mount onto some blank greeting cards and sell them in my shop. And I found this one that just happens to match that color. It's that kind of mulberry color. Look how good that looks. So your favorite chef duo in your family, or if we add that, the chocolate, it just really stands out. So they can make a really cool greeting card. You could use these in your journals. Maybe you're doing a journal of recipes and cooking. Or what if this was one of your grandmother's recipes and a picture of your grandmother, or your mom even? That would be very cool. Make it a real family memento. And then you could actually put the full recipe on the back, or have the recipe on the page that you tuck this into a pocket on. So many good ideas for these little vintage recipe cards. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you're going to try this and how they turn out. I'd love to hear from you. From Funk and Dazzles, this is J-Star saying have a great day and keep creating.